Welcome to the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast, a podcast dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Daniel Good and Tim Mitchell are your co-hosts today, and we're excited to bring you the latest from the frontiers of pharmacy practice. Let me remind our listeners that the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast is available for streaming on your favorite podcast streaming app, whether it be Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or YouTube. Be sure to bookmark and like our podcast to get notifications on the latest release. The comments and opinions shared today are those of our hosts, our guests, and not official statements of the Missouri Pharmacy Association, Mercy, nor Mitchell Pharmacy. Now let's introduce our guest. Edition of Pharmacy Frontiers. We're coming to you live, well, semi-live, from Jefferson City, the capital for the state of Missouri, and we have a special edition of Pharmacy Frontiers as we prepare for the Pharmacy Legislative Day up here on Wednesday, April 1st. So we want to come in here and share a little bit with our special guest, who's Glendon Wilson. He is a legislative assistant to Brad Crist, the representative from District 96. Welcome, Glendon.
It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me on the show. I'm very excited for the specific topic that we have today.
Well, we appreciate you being here because we need all the help we can get, right? We're going to probably have over 300 people here in town tomorrow. Everything from seasoned veteran pharmacists that work in hospitals to some that own independent pharmacies. We're going to have some educators here. Then we're going to have a bunch of pharmacy students here as well. And that's where we need to have a little bit of help when it comes to sharing and talking with a representative or a senator here at the state level. Well, that's what the advice we need is how are we going to make those connections and how we can best be successful doing that. So what's going to happen in the morning for our group is we're going to spend a few hours in the morning just talking through what are the different bills going on in the legislature and that are appropriate for pharmacy. We're even going to have some guests come in and share with us about what they're doing, like Representative Benny Cook, and then we'll probably have the Attorney General come and talk to us as well about what she's working on. And then we'll even have our professional lobbyists from the State Pharmacy Association come in and talk through what the current status is on the bills. And then about noontime, all those folks will come up to the Hill and start visiting their individual representatives, which is where you come into play. So what is your best advice? Tell me, what is the best way to get through to a representative?
Well, that is fantastic. And absolutely, the number one thing that I want everybody to know whenever they first approach a representative is that what they are doing is extremely helpful to these representatives and to these senators. These representatives and senators are term limited. They only have so much time in the legislature, and that doesn't give them a lot of institutional knowledge. A lot of them, it's their first time up here, or they haven't heard these issues in a while. So whenever somebody comes to our office with very detailed information, and they're the experts in this field, it's extremely helpful to us because now we have an expert that we can learn from, ask questions towards. So the first thing I would say is that what you guys are doing is a great help, and it's a great service to the state. It really is. The other thing, don't be intimidated. Whenever you come into the office, sometimes you are able to meet with the representative and you might feel that you're a little bit out of place. I've done that before. That's never the case. Everybody appreciates people coming into the office. We might be busy. We might not be able to grab the representative at the moment, but don't be discouraged by that. Always leave information, always talk to the LA so that they can talk to their representative who will hopefully reach out to you. So don't be intimidated. It's a big building with a lot of important people, but
and a big noisy building. It's
yes,
big granite and marble, and so it gets very noisy inside there. But the nice thing is about Missouri, right, is that so many of these legislative assistants, so many of these office workers, so many of these representatives are from back home, right? Literally. And so your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister probably has done business with them, right? They've run into each other on the soccer field or maybe go to the same church. And that's an important connection to make, is try to make sure that representative knows that, hey, I live on the corner of 72nd and Main Street. And so they can put you in place, right? They understand where they can meet you and where you're coming from.
Always. That's always a fun thing to listen to in the office whenever a constituent talks to the representative and they kind of figure out what neighborhoods they're both from and what they do back home. It's always something that the representative appreciates in every office.
And many of the folks, the pharmacists that are going to be here tomorrow, are independent pharmacy owners. And so those small businesses are a bit of the backbone in a lot of our economies and for several of our communities. And so I know your representative, Chris, and several other representatives very much are into small business and very much want to support what we're doing in that community, aren't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's the innovators within the district that are always very much well greeted by the representatives. If you own a small business or you're leading the front to some movement, the representatives are always excited to hear about the small business or hear about the movement that's going on in their district.
That is great news to hear. And that's kind of what the connection is all about, right? Is that we're all just people. It starts out that we're just people, right? And we're trying to take care of doing the right thing for the right reasons. The other group that's pretty large tomorrow will be pharmacy students. And so they'll be in town thinking that, well, I've not really done anything yet in the field of pharmacy. What can I possibly contribute? So what's your thought there? What's your advice to those student pharmacists that come to town?
We have students come in all the time from all different fields. I had some nursing students actually in the office the other day doing the same thing, advocating for certain legislation. We love to see it. And again, if it's your first time being up here at the Capitol, don't be intimidated. This is a great opportunity for you to learn about the legislative process, learn how the building kind of operates, and at the same time, it gives a lot of exposure towards you from the representatives. They'll be able to see that young people in the field, young students really care about these issues. And to a lot of them, that'll be very encouraging to know that the legislation that they're interested in has an effect on the next generation.
That is great news to hear because there is a lot of potential, uneasiness, right? It's like my first time I'm here. What am I supposed to do about this? And so, what I always tell the students that are with me is that a couple of things. One is we're going to go see your hometown representative,
Mhm.
and two, they're always interested to hear what the next generation's doing and how the education has benefited them, right? So it's always good to share some of those stories from the classroom, right? What am I learning about, and how do I apply that to real practice?
Absolutely. Representatives love having those conversations because you got to remember these people are running from committee to committee talking bill to bill. So if they just have 5 minutes to talk to you about what you're interested in and talk maybe about the district a little bit and what you love about your hometown, they're going to enjoy it.
The other advice I like to give the students is be prepared to share a patient care story, right? If
Mhm.
we're there and we're advocating for a pharmacy benefit management bill or maybe one of the pharmacy practice bills that allows pharmacists to administer vaccines, they need to be prepared to share with the representative how that impact a patient. And all those students are going to be with us have been on rotations in hospitals and in community pharmacies. And they all have a few stories about a patient they've helped access medication or a patient they helped with a copay or somehow getting things taken care of for them. So I'm hoping those kind of stories come out tomorrow.
Absolutely. A lot of these representatives, they're hit with a lot of bills, and what they're really wondering is, okay, how does this affect the individuals in my district? So, whenever your students or the people with you present these scenarios where we can see the actual effects and see the things that maybe need to be innovated, that really gives a perspective to the representative that they value very highly.
So let's talk a little about the logistics then tomorrow. The pharmacy group's going to be down at the Plaza Hotel doing the pre-work in the morning. Then they're going to come up the hill. They'll probably take a picture out in front of the Capitol, which is kind of cool if the weather permits, right? But then just to get it in the Capitol building, they have to work their way through some security, don't they? Is that anything to be worried about tomorrow?
Absolutely not. We have the security there for very obvious reasons, but it should be a very easy process to get into the building. I wouldn't sweat it at all.
And then to find the offices. Is it left is house and right is Senate? I can't remember which way to go to tell you the truth.
Whenever you walk into the Capitol, it'll be the Senate's on the right side, the House is on the left side. It's a very loose rule. Sometimes the House will creep into the Senate side. When in doubt, you can always just go to the Missouri House website or the Missouri Senate website and look up the office locations.
That'll work out really well. And you think there'll be a chance? Is the House actually in session tomorrow if the folks want to sit in and listen to the floor activity and some of the debate going on?
Absolutely. We have a 10 a.m. session that'll probably last until noon, and then we will be back in session at 2 o'clock. And that will probably run until 4 or 5 or maybe later.
Okay, so that's important times then, right? Because if we need to get there between noon and two to try to catch the representatives and the senators in their office space, right? That's fair.
Absolutely.
But then if they aren't able to get them before two, what do we do after 2 o'clock? Is there a way to come in and at least talk to the legislative assistant or someone in the office?
Absolutely. So go in, talk to the legislative assistant. If you're a constituent from the district, be sure to tell them that. Sometimes the representatives, if they're not currently busy, will come off the floor to talk to you, especially with constituents. So the constituent is kind of the magic word in the
Yes.
building to
So
get
what's that mean, constituent? That's a big word. What's that mean?
constituent. If you are a constituent, you are someone that lives in the senator or representative's actual district. So they are in the building to represent you. So whenever you're in the building, most senators, I would say all senators and representatives, take very special care to treat their constituents right because it is their job to represent you.
Yeah, I think that's key. And so many of the students that come into town, they're like, well, I'm living in Kansas City or I'm living in St. Louis. So I'm really not a constituent of St. Louis, but my hometown is Farmington, right?
Mhm.
And so that's what we try to match them up is with their representative from their hometown, where they actually are registered to vote, where their parents actually live, where they went to high school. That's probably the best way to approach it, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Good deal. That'll work out really well then. So afternoon 2 to 5, maybe even spilling into 6 that they'll actually be in session. So either go to the office and talk to those folks there and see if they can pull them off the floor, or they could just go and observe what's going on from the gallery upstairs on is it the third or fourth floor? You actually look down on the floor and see what's going on. Is that right?
That'll be on the fourth floor.
Fourth
Yeah.
floor. So go to the fourth floor and be quiet, put away your phone, right?
Right.
No
Yes.
phones allowed up there.
Try not to clap. We've had groups come in, they clap and cheer, and they get in trouble for that.
Oh no. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. I do recall that in years past when I've been here actually with the pharmacy group, and they actually had a group of us come down to the floor to be introduced, right? Just to say, hey,
Yes.
the pharmacy association is here, and here's the president, blah, blah, blah. So then there was some clapping from the gallery, and I remember them being wrapped down by the speaker. I think that's who it was the speaker that did that. So tell us something else fun about the Capitol that we need to know. I know they offer tours of the Capitol. There's lots of different nooks and crannies, and you can go up on, is it the fourth or the fifth floor of the rotunda and look all the way down? Tell me something fun about the Capitol building.
Let's see. One thing that not everybody does. So you can go to the Whispering Gallery. You can get up there from the fourth floor, and it's great. It's fantastic. You get to look down the rotunda all the way down to the first floor. It's terrifying. I don't go there. But if you catch a legislative assistant on a very good day, they can take you all the way to the top of the dome on the outside, at the very top. So then you can look over all of Jefferson City. You can watch the boats go down the river. I love to take people up there. It's a lot of steps, but it's completely worth it.
It is a cool view from up there, weather permitting, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is nice. The Whispering Gallery, and what you mean by that is, right, you can stand on one side of the gallery and then literally 80 feet across the vast opening, you can whisper and the people on the other side can hear you, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just talk, and it's not just talk loudly, it's whisper. And you can face towards the wall, whisper something into the wall, and then somebody from the other side will be able to hear you. Now, if you get a lot of people up there at once, it can get very confusing. I've taken large groups up there, and it sounds like everybody's right next to you talking. But the whispering gallery is a lot of fun, and I encourage anybody to go up there.
Excellent. That's good to hear. That's great. So how far are we into the session then? We're getting towards the end, aren't we?
We are on the back end. We just crossed the halfway point couple week or two ago. Session will run until May 15th, I believe, is the last day of session. So yeah, the bills that have the kind of unwritten rule, from what I hear, is that spring break is kind of the chopping block. Any bill that has been passed out of committee before spring break has a chance of being passed through the House, through the Senate, and given to the governor. If your bill didn't quite make it before spring break, it's harder to do so because it has to go through so many different processes. So we are in the period where we are honing down on the bills that really, really have a chance of making it all the way to the governor's office, and that's very exciting.
And there's occasionally some omnibus bills and things get combined together and whatnot. But right now, there's a lot of emphasis just on the budget, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of emphasis just on that whole income tax issue that we won't get into right now. But the representatives and senators are working very hard to do the right thing for us in the state of Missouri.
They are, yes. At least I would like to believe so.
So give the folks one more piece of advice when they get done meeting with the representative and they shake hands and leave the office and they go back home. What's the appropriate way to follow up then?
I would say the The absolute best way is to send them an email, say, hey, I was in the office. It was great to meet you. If you're ever in district and want to talk about these issues more, or if I can help you out in any way, here's my contact and let's stay in touch.
Okay, very cool. That'll work out really well. So give us a little bit of a summary then. We've talked today about don't be intimidated, right?
Right.
Come in and share a story about the hometown, get connected because you're a constituent in that hometown and the representative wants to make that connection with you. And then be fairly concise, but come with a story of how this issue, this bill, whatever the topic is going to affect your life and the life of your patients. Is that a good summary?
It is. And I would just add, remember that what you are doing is a great service to your state. It's a great public service, and you are there to make the state a better place. And don't lose sight of that. Just remember that you are providing a service to the representatives that they may not be able to get on their own. So a lot of representatives and senators do greatly appreciate that.
Well, let's just leave it at that. That was a great ending. I really appreciate you, Glendon Wilson, being on the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast this afternoon. And again, Glendon Wilson is a legislative assistant to Brad Christ, who is the representative for District 96. Thank you for joining us today for the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. And please share this episode with your friends and colleagues and seek out the previous Pharmacy Frontiers podcast on your favorite podcast channel.